Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson here to recap the semifinal round of the FCS Football Playoffs. Illinois State will take on Montana State in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the process of lining up our trip to Nashville, which is going to be super fun. We're excited to make that first trip for a title game. But we got to recap these games, dig into what went wrong, what went right for the victors. Before we do so, a reminder that today's episode is presented to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're going to be betting on the FCS championship game, if you're going to be betting on any of these college football games, the NFL for the rest of the season, make sure you go and do it over with our friends at FanDuel. I'm curious, quickly pulling up to see if I can find if they have a line out already on the FCS. It does not look like they've put one out yet. Okay. But regardless, do you have any lines that catch your attention?
Yeah. One's still really catching my attention. Monday Night Football. San Francisco somehow not favored by 30 against the Philip Rivers-led Colts.
We do have a line for the national championship on FanDuel. Montana State -8.5. Ooh. Any quick lean there?
Yeah, Montana State take that line.
Under 10 points. Not to dig out Illinois State already.
Yeah, that's a lead. Yeah, again, not to bury the lead.
But we're gonna get yelled at.
We tease it up.
Let's start by talking about Illinois State. Illinois State had a really impressive victory against Villanova. They become the first FCS football team to win 4 playoff games on the road to advance to an FCS national championship. The odds were completely against them, and they really, really grinded down Villanova in spots where they needed to pull out this victory. Game started kind of with a little bit of juice for Villanova. It looked like they were going to be able to put some points on the board to start the game, and then lo and behold, McQuaid rips a shot, and they kept ripping all these deep shots that just weren't really connecting. It was emblematic of the whole game where it gets picked off, and then suddenly all the momentum starts to swing in Illinois State's favor. One thing that I just got from the vibe of watching it and then on the rewatch was this team that won 4 FCS road playoff games was not going to be denied. They were playing with this identity and this belief of we're the better team. Everybody's doubting us. We're just going to keep fighting and punching you in the mouth, and then eventually you're going to submit. And that's what they did again against Villanova.
Belief and hope and unity as a football team is a scary thing. It really is. It's very, very difficult to achieve that. Every coach at the beginning of every football season, the quest obviously is to win games. But if you can get the whole team to buy in and you can get the whole team to believe in something and go out and just say, hey, we know how to play football. We know how to win football games. That's the goal for a coach, because then you have runs like this from Illinois State. You could see it like genuinely, You said it, you could see it. I could feel it through the television with how they were moving, how the team was interacting with each other, the way that they were going, just operating on the sidelines. Like it just felt like they knew what they were doing. And that's so difficult. 18 to 22-year-olds are the most distracted individuals on the planet. And then you put them in a highly raucous environment like football, like anything can happen. But they're locked in and they get a win. And Villanova played the same way all year. Like this is I didn't expect much more from Villanova from their play style, because this is what they've been. But they've won games playing like this. Illinois State just said, we're enough of this. Pebble, get out of the shoe. We're going to bully you a little bit. We're going to push you around, and then we're going to get the win. And they did. It wasn't anything like super spectacular, but they did what they did all season. Tommy Rittenhouse played fine. Near 50% completion percentage. That's been about what he does. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. That's what he does. Victor Dawson, great game. Daniel Sobkowitz, one of the best playoff runs I've seen from a receiver. So far in the postseason, he had 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got 7 touchdowns over 4 playoff games this year. 403 yards, 29 catches. You can't ask for much more from your wide receiver one than averaging 100 yards and 1.75 touchdowns a game in the playoffs. The guy showed up. Illinois State, legit path, way to be, great season, making it to the championship.
Yeah, the 2 things kind of caught my attention here, and you just alluded to them a little bit. One, I don't think there's been a more underrated player in the FCS playoffs than Victor Dawson.
Stud.
He has had a number of games here where he has just taken over the tempo of the game, and he has really grinded out the key yards, converting first downs, getting these chunk plays when lanes open up, and then powering through contact. Dawson has been that tone setter that Illinois State has relied on, even when maybe everything else isn't flowing as effectively as it needed to. Rittenhouse had a solid game, but didn't have his best game overall. They're able to lean on Dawson, especially late in the game, to just close things out. And I don't think that there's obviously not been a better receiver than Sopkowitz. You wrote down here the 403 yards, 7 touchdowns that he has in the playoffs. This kid's a stud. If they are able to challenge Montana State and pull out an upset, it's going to be through more big plays that Sopkowitz produces. That kid is awesome in contested catch situations. Yeah. And I foresee that he's probably going to have a lot of tight catches like he did all throughout the playoffs against Montana State. They got to continue to produce big plays if they want to play spoiler once again and continue to shock everyone. But I love this core that they're playing with.
A lot of the great physical separators at wide receiver that'll burn you off the line, they're not in the FCS anymore. All right, they're not. Yeah. So that leaves you with guys that maybe aren't as fast or a touch slower in the 3-cone, and then they have to learn how to make contested catches because they can't burn anybody. And that's what Sopkowitz does. I mean, every highlight that he has, a defender is just draped all over him, and he still makes the catch. It's really a skill, and it's kind of uniquely FCS with some of these quirked up receivers that just go out and like, yeah, all right, ball's in the air, I got to make a play. I love it. I love this Illinois State team. I thought they showed up. I thought they looked a little more. I mean, professional is not the word I'd like to say, but it kind of feels like they kind of mogged Villanova a bit. Like Villanova, empty stadium, not a lot of visible juice from them. Illinois State was like, all right, here we go. We're all rolling. We're going to win this game. Snap 1 to snap 100. Really, really good stuff from them. It was. And you know what? This is not subtle shots of us, I guess, already having a bit of a lean on the line for the Natty.
Kind of do here.
But we have to. But in reality, we know what the better team is between the two. Illinois State, though, incredible playoff run. Really, really is.
Yeah, incredible. And it's going to go down as one of the more memorable ones that we've witnessed and we've had the opportunity to watch. This Illinois State squad is phenomenal. The one thing I got to dish a little bit of negativity towards Villanova. I mean, come on. Could we have a better home playoff environment? You and I were talking about this when we were watching the game. I don't know if this really resolves it, but I would have thought maybe throwing this game in the link, you maybe could have enticed more people to show up and go, oh, there's a football game. Oh, although was the Commanders-Eagles game at?
No, it was in Washington.
I need to double check this.
Yeah,
it was in. I'm just double checking. Yeah. It was in Washington. I didn't point it at you.
Yeah, I didn't like the finger raise.
Okay. Don't be so sensitive. This though I think could have been there was nobody in the stands. It was so lame. I hate the stupid track around the field. It looks awful. They have a bad stadium. I've said this 100 times over. I wonder if you would put that in the link, which is the Eagle Stadium. If more people would have been like, oh, cool, there's a football game. Let's go to this game. There's a game being had. Maybe even offer tickets up to season ticket holders for the Eagles, whatever it is. There absolutely could have been more of an effort to pack the stadium and to put a better environment out there. The Temple football games are empty when they play at the link, but at least there was more people showing up than there was at this dang game. And it really kind of pissed me off watching the Super Brawl where everyone's locked in and, you know, yelling and it's tight and everyone's just jacked up for all 4 quarters. And we didn't really get that.
This one's on the fans. This is directly on the Villanova fans, Villanova faithful, for not showing out, because we shouldn't even be having a discussion like this. Oh, should we move their Final Four FCS playoffs football game to a different stadium because theirs looks so empty? It's on the fans. You need to do better. Harsh medicine time. If East Coast football actually wants to be taken seriously ever, you need to actually show up and watch the football game. Like, holy hell. Like honest to God, 2 different worlds were happening in the FCS this week with what's going on in Montana on the West Coast and the East Coast disappointment. Villanova, I know you want to legitimize yourselves. I know a lot of teams want to legitimize themselves. You got to get fans in the stands. I don't know. It's a bad look. It almost discredits like the whole run. Like in a way, it made Illinois State look bad. It made Villanova football look bad. It made the FCS look bad. Seeing a bunch of empty bleachers in one of the last 3 games of the year at home, like it's just something that can't happen if you want to keep the level relevant, if you want to keep the subdivision like moving, then that means you have to get a little crazy. I don't know what that is, why East Coast fans can't get crazy for football. They need to. Like, holy hell.
Well, but the problem is, and this is like a whole broad conversation, is that a lot of East Coast football fans have their pro teams and they're very excited about their pro teams, and fan bases in, the state of Alabama, in the Montanas, in the Dakotas, various parts of the countries where there's not a pro team nearby, there is going to be a much better home environment because that's the show in town and those people are excited to be there. People from Philadelphia just don't really identify with Villanova. They don't. It's a, snobby academic school in Philadelphia that, only a certain number of intelligent, some really smart people end up going there. And I feel like for the most part, a lot of people that go there aren't even necessarily from Philly. It just doesn't have that identity. It just doesn't. And I don't know if Villanova basketball, there's much hype for it, but it's disappointing. We don't need to harp on that.
There's tons of hype for Villanova basketball. I mean, it's just do better. Honestly, do better.
Yeah,
do better. Make it a better product. Honest to God, fans, you need to be better. Villanova people, you need to be better. Show up for your team. They worked really hard to get to this spot, and then you made them look like a bunch of jerks. It felt like I felt like a jerk for being like, oh, well, I'm watching the Illinois State Villanova game. Am I one of the 200 doing so? Like, that's what I felt like, and I don't like feeling like that. I want to keep on supporting this freaking whatever level.
Montana State fans showed up absolutely in their 48-23 win over Montana. This game, a lot of people are just simply labeling this as a blowout. This was a tight game up until one of the craziest fourth quarters that you can see in a very tight football game. Montana State led 20-3. Montana stormed back, got a huge fumble recovery that helped them narrow the deficit right before halftime, 20-16. Grizz eventually taking 23-20 third quarter lead, and this looks like, oh man, we're going to get a real boxing match here between these two squads. We're going to get head blows. These dudes were hitting each other. Wait, let me backtrack on the head blows thing. Like two boxers punched each other in the head is what more so I went. I know that there was that targeting call. They made me think of, I am not condoning spearing and hitting guys in the head. I'm not condoning targeting. That's not what I'm doing. But this was a very physical game. And then suddenly Dowler in the top of the fourth quarter gets that crazy touchdown where you've got the congestion of Montana defenders. And then he just breaks through, long ass touchdown, starts to build the momentum. That seemingly swings it. You get an Ayat pick six that makes it 41-23, 28 unanswered points, makes it the final score. It was insane seeing how tight this thing was, how it felt like Montana was going to be able to keep this thing tight. And then you blinked. It was crazy how it was. You blinked and you looked back up at the screen. You're like, what just happened?
Yeah, Montana put together two really good quarters. They started slow and they finished slow, and that hurt them. It's plain and simple. If they played the whole game like quarters 2 and 3, we're looking at instant classic, probably 48-45, flip a coin with who wins it. But they didn't, and it's rough. And that pick six is rough. Ayat played so good all season to have that be one of like the key 5 plays of the game happen. Bummed for him, genuinely. He had a great year. I was a champion of him all year. Really, really solid with the offense. Eli Gilman did his job, 100 yards and a touchdown. I think you brought up like maybe in like week 10 or something, like the Montana record when Gilman has 100 yards in it, and it's stellar. Like they just win when he gets 100 yards. He had 100 yards. They didn't win. So they did a lot of things right. What they didn't do right, Michael Wortham only had 10 touches, and he was held to under 100 yards. I'm sure he was a huge factor in Montana State's defensive scheme. But if I'm Montana, I'm forcing that issue. I'm just forcing it, and then we'll figure it out next week if we want to get more balanced. But in the playoffs, my best players get the ball and they make plays, and they needed to get him the ball more. Montana State, though, really, really solid performance. Genuinely, like consistent. They didn't seem phased when Montana started coming back. They didn't seem phased when Montana took a lead. They're like, all right, I guess we're just going to keep playing football because we haven't had anything weird happen to us. It's just been a football game so far. We're going to keep on doing it. And they did it. And they played really well. Lamson might have had his best game of the year against Montana in the highest pressure situation this kid could have been thrown in with the rivalry and the playoffs and all the majesty of it. Like he did great. He had 4 touchdowns. He had 6 incompletions, 209 yards passing. All you could ever need from a quarterback to do in a situation like that, especially with a strong run game. Adam Jones, game ball. 16 carries, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Montana State didn't flinch. Montana did a little bit. That's how it shook out. Montana State was ready for the moment. And it was like there was writing on the wall for it not to be that. Hard to beat a good team twice. The rivalry, I thought that Montana had the quarterback edge. I thought they might have had the more talent at running back 1-to-1 over Montana State, but damn, Montana State did it. They did it, and now they're going to the national championship.
Yeah, and I said this is the de facto national championship. Whoever won this game is going to win the national title. I'm not trying to discredit Illinois State. I think a lot of people who've been paying attention understand that not only if you were able to win this, but you're able to win the way that Montana State did, where they just smoked past Montana in the fourth quarter, and they did it with such a declarative statement of, we're not letting you get back into this. We are going to completely eviscerate you and demolish you, and you're going to leave here feeling almost embarrassed and stunned by the way that we finished this game off. That type of identity and mentality shows up in a national championship. Montana State is going to win this national championship this year. I have zero doubts on that. None. Put that in the hype video, Illinois State.
Here's a hypothetical for you. Okay. Right now, does Montana State put up a little banner for beating Montana in the playoffs here? Would you put that up?
What kind of a question is that?
Would they? And even if they lost the national championship,
what kind of a question is that?
Would you put up a banner?
No.
Oh, I might. Playoff Super Bowl
what kind of a participation trophy bullshit is that?
I know. I would rather have that of Montana State beats Montana.
Did you bang your head this morning?
I'd rather have that than have national championship representative if they lost.
I wouldn't put that up.
You know teams put up banners.
Yeah, well, Illinois State. Oh man, that's really disrespectful. I'm saying that. Illinois State probably would, but Montana State has a very high standard that I think that there's an expectation that they're going to win. If you lost Illinois State, I'd be really disappointed to the point where I wouldn't.
I understand that.
I would. Are you kidding me? That would be even more embarrassing if you took pride in, like, well, at least we beat Montana twice.
I know it's a big deal to these people in Montana, though.
That's literally the cliche. It's their Super Bowl. That's what they would be.
It is their Super Bowl. The
national championship should be their Super Bowl.
I agree, but they've been calling it their Super Bowl all week. Comments have been flooded. Super Brawl, yeah, but it's good. I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? Do I need to? No, I'm not going to. I mean, there was a Montana fan that was a little angry, so I don't know if I want to stick the knife in or not. I probably won't. I'll do better.
Yeah, Montana fans are not very happy.
I'll take the high road over Bruce Chamberlain, you jackass, you fool. Why would you give me any reason to take pride in a game that I don't care which team wins? Why would you? Grumpy Montana man, you suck.
Well, you playing in Rhode Island, it doesn't make you an
expert. I guess my bias is creeping through because of the attacks.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a good win. I think
if anything, we should have a bias against Montana State because one of the last times that Rhodey had like a long playoff run, they lost to Montana State.
Yeah. I mean, they're just juicing me towards them though. These Montana fans, a really, really interesting crew because like 98% of you guys are really nice and really cool. And understand the show.
The ones that are mad are like the most mad people you've ever seen.
And the 2% are like, what? Oh, Wells, yeah, you're kind of ruining the well water here with your negativity. I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to say like successful year for Montana. It's so hard for them to like understand like this was a very, very good season. Like you put out maybe the most entertaining football product in the FCS this year with the offense, the defense, just everything that Montana produced this year. Like take pride in that. The offense, like you should be like accepting that the culture is so good that you can take huge steps from year to year and keep improving. It's so hard to do in this sport. Everyone's moving around. Coaches are always leaving. Schemes are always changing. And you took a huge step forward. I know it's disappointing. I know it is, and I know it's crazy because I was just attacking one of yours, but they attacked me first, so that guy sucks. Regardless, really, really great year for Montana. I'm grateful for the season that they had. Montana State, going on to, you know what? It's their national championship to lose. That's the situation from them, all right? If they want to win it, they can. If they want to lose it, they'll lose it. But Montana State has put themselves through the meat grinder, 2 wins against Montana. It's as strong as a resume as you could have, genuinely. As good as the Illinois State win over North Dakota State was, that's tremendous. And we've hyped it as like one of the best playoff wins ever. Beating Montana twice in one season, you've earned your right to be in the national championship, certainly.
Well, and I think that also kind of serves as like a mentality starter of, you feel unstoppable when you've beaten your biggest rival twice, and the second time was in the most important setting, and the first time kind of set off this trajectory for where you're building all this momentum. It'll be really exciting to see. We're hyped up for it, of course. We will be not dropping a preview this week. We'll be dropping a preview the following week, so stay tuned for that. Probably won't do it during at the end of the week of the Christmas week, but stay tuned for that, and we'll of course be reacting the night of the national championship. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Reminder that today's episode was presented by FanDuel. We'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your week.